Aloha and welcome. My name is Taylor Norris, and I'm an astrologer and Reiki teacher, Reiki practitioner. And in today's video, I'm really grateful to be here with you. And we are going to be exploring together the Aries full moon that is coming up on October 6th. October 7th, depending on where you are in the world. It will be occurring at 14 degrees Aries and 8 minutes with the moon there, exactly opposite the sun at 14 degrees Libra and 8 minutes. So you'll want to know which astrological houses is the moon and the sun falling in, which areas of life will be coming into greater awareness. In this video, we'll look at the astrology, the medical astrology, a few tips about the moon in Aries and what that brings up physically. And from a health perspective, we'll look at some of the star alignments. We'll actually map those star alignments in the body. Really excited to share with you because, as we'll see, the Sabian symbol really does suggest this idea of creating the light body, mapping out the light body. And that's something that has been dropping in for me in my work really all year long, looking at the chakras and how those are related to the planets and how the planets and their alignments to the stars really do infuse and activate within us our own star seed nature, our own star connections, our own planetary connections, and that we're constantly receiving additional activations through the transiting planets and the alignments they make to the stars. So I will go ahead and share my screen. And actually, before we do that, I'll just share some of the medical astrology tips from the Medical Astrology in Action textbook about the transits. And this is by medical astrologer Judith Hill. Really wonderful book. Highly recommend it. In Aries, when the moon is in Aries, the body fluids and electromagnetic energies pull readily to the head, eyes, brain, upper jaw, teeth, nerves, adrenals with Libra and Mars, the upper teeth, and mandible. The Aries moon is notably hot and dry, bursting forth. So the top of the body is really the Aries zodiac sign body zone within us, and the moon is distributing the life force to our heads, to the top of the body. This moon stimulates the adrenal glands, enhancing action, temper, and increasing the need for muscular movement. This is a great time, October 6th, 7th, and even leading up to it, to really engage in your exercise routines, any kind of fitness and mindful movement practices that you like and that you enjoy to help run the energy through your body in a way that is harmonious and life-giving and life-affirming, and will help diffuse some of those needs and compulsions to action and any kind of emotional activation we may be receiving as well. The Aries moon excites the brain, the blood flow to the head. You want to avoid light in the eyes or excessive sun on head. Wear your hat, protect your head. This moon can also be dehydrating. It's a great time for herbalists to decoct or administer stimulating brain stimulants, iron-rich herbs, adrenal support herbs, adaptogens, eye-strengthening herbs, herbs for muscular energy and aerobic movement. Surgically and medically speaking, I'm not a medical doctor, but these are some of the tips from this book from an astrological perspective. Heat rises suddenly, so watch fevers and tempers. Aries is fast acting and hemorrhage prone. If the responsible physician agrees, avoid surgery to Aries bodily regions listed above. However, these few days are good to nourish and heal these same regions, provided they are deficient. One never wants to overstimulate fire. So again, that Aries body zone is the top of the head, the eyes, the brain, upper jaw, teeth, nerves, adrenals, upper teeth, and mandible. So we want to nourish and support our heads rather than overstimulate our heads too much. So with that said, I will share our astrology chart for the Aries full moon. You can see the astrology chart here on the left, the galactic chart on the right, And we can see the full moon is exact at 5:47 p.m. Hawaii time, October 6th. So you'll want to adjust that to your time zone. The full moon may be October 6th. It may be October 7th for you, depending on your location. So the moon is at 14 Aries, 8 minutes, exactly opposite the sun, 14 Libra, 8 minutes. So we're dealing with this polarity of self, Aries, clear, direct, independent, focus, cardinal energy. This is powerful. This is initiating. This is activating. This is like enacting change and movement and pioneering new directions. This is also a sign of courage, of sovereignty, of leadership. The sun in Libra is much more mellow, it's fair, it's balanced, it's airy, it's looking for justice and truth and fairness and how to create win-win solutions, win-win decision making. Even Libra is about considering another's point of view and really creating peace and harmony and beauty in its most beautiful and magical and miraculous forms. It's really a sign of beautiful aesthetics and beautiful design. So this Aries full moon is really asking us to examine ourselves, examine our relationships, and depending on which two astrological houses this is falling in your natal chart, it will be activating or shining a light in those two areas. So it may be shining a light in yourself and others, kind of like how it is in this chart, first house and seventh house. It may also be activating your sixth house of work and health and practical service, daily routines, and your 12th house of healing and withdrawal and sleep and dream time and spiritual service, deep psyche, deep unconscious. So definitely be aware of where it's activating and lighting up greater awareness in your chart. What's really interesting about this moon is you see it is really a part of a much larger stellium of energy, starting here with the North Node and Pisces, Saturn in Pisces, Saturn retrograde in Pisces, Neptune retrograde in Aries. We have Ceres here, also 8 degrees, 33 minutes of Aries. Salacia, dwarf planet, 11 degrees Aries, 17 minutes. Our moon at 14 Aries and Chiron at 25 Aries. And not drawn into this chart is also Eris, dwarf planet goddess Eris at around a similar degree point in Aries as Chiron is, 25, 26 degrees. So there's a lot of energy in Pisces and in Aries, and this full moon is really like ending, it's closing out the eclipse portal, the more concentrated version of the eclipse portal. Because remember, the eclipse portal is really lasting, really the next 6 months until our next set of eclipses in February and March of 2026. So it's closing out the more immediate window of the eclipse portal. And so we could be shining light and reflecting on all that has changed in ourselves, in our relationships, in those areas of life that have been highlighted by the eclipses and now highlighted by this full moon. There can be reflection, there can be course correction, there can be a sense of pulling back. There can also be a sense of dancing in the light, Salacia, really receiving the light codes and the activations of our light body and our energy bodies and feeling in touch with the light and feeling in touch with the sacred waters. Salacia very connected to mermaid energy and mermaid consciousness and the freedom of moving through the waters, the freedom of moving through the light, the freedom and the magic of being in communion with the dolphins. And Salacia was courted by Neptune, and she really wasn't interested in being in a relationship with Neptune, didn't think he was serious, swam on off and was with the dolphins and the whales, and was eventually found by a dolphin and invited back to make contact with Neptune, but she was completely independent, sovereign, free, didn't need a man, didn't need a partner. So there is this sense of Aries divine feminine sovereignty coming through Celestia, coming through also Ceres and Aries, and also coming through Chiron and Eris in Aries as well, that divine feminine sovereignty theme coming through really, really strongly. And you can see in this chart here too that this moon and really its Ceres as well and Celestia, they're part of this grand fire trine with dwarf planet Varuna in Leo and asteroid goddess Vesta in Sagittarius, and she's making an alignment with Antares, royal star, light warrior star, gateway portal, cosmic interdimensional portal star that is Antares, the heart of the scorpion. So we have this beautiful divine feminine fire trine going on here. And Varuna is a god of the waters as well. Varuna was a god of all creation, but in his own story and own mythology was demoted to just being god of the water when he didn't engage in kind of an opportunity he had to take warriorship action against parties who were disputing, and he chose to trust the higher order and not take action. He was relegated to just being god of the water and seemed to be just fine with that. So we have this fire trine of intuition, of creativity, of insight, of action, of movement, of understanding, of heart energy here with Varuna really lighting up our sense of heart, our sense of love, and the great love of all creation, this great love too of our inner children, of the children of the earth, the children of the cosmos, and that really coming through Varuna and Vesta here, our asteroid goddess of devotion, tending the sacred hearth, tending the sacred fire, in alignment here with Antares, asking us, what are we devoted to? What are we committed to? What notability and mastery consciousness are we ready to engage in? Vesta, a goddess and an aspect of the divine feminine, the fiery divine feminine, the truth-seeking divine feminine, the light warrior divine feminine here in Sagittarius and in her alignment with Antares star. So we're really anchoring in this spiritual fire, this cosmic fire, and really purifying. We're even purifying the fire, purifying that spark of the divine within ourselves and activating it even further at this time. So we have this beautiful fire trine in operation at the time of this full moon. When we look at the star alignment, some of the significant star alignments, we can see that over here the moon is conjunct Alpharat star in Andromeda constellation. Andromeda, the princess, another aspect of the divine feminine mapped in the stars. And Alpharat star is interestingly a part of both Andromeda constellation and can also be considered to be a part of Pegasus constellation, where we have Neptune really activating Pegasus constellation. Saturn has been activating Pegasus constellation as well. So moon with Andromeda Alpharats, the navel, the solar plexus of Pegasus constellation, and Alpharats, the head of Andromeda, remembering that Aries is the head body zone as well. So really, it feels like this is a power, an empowerment of the solar plexus. Who are you? Knowing your worth, your truth, your power, your empowerment, your sense of boundaries and solid sense of self, and really an activation of our head and of our crown chakra. And when we map our crown chakra planetarily, it is linked to the planet Mercury and also, I would say, the higher octave of Mercury, Uranus. And Mercury currently at the time of this full moon will have just moved into Scorpio and is making an alignment with Shapley Attractor and opposing Mirach star in Andromeda constellation, which has to do with receptivity. So our crown chakras are very receptive to cosmic intelligence coming from the far reaches of the universe, coming from even beyond this universe. So this is a wonderful time to engage in any kind of like mental detoxification, mental space, tuning into our intuition, communicating with spirit guides, communicating with those beyond the veil, communicating with the universal beings of the light, ones from within this galaxy and ones from the very far reaches of the universe. We could be in touch with very deeper sense of our soul self and even receiving instructions that are in the service of our transformational path at this time. And that's going to be different for each of us. But Moon Alpha Rats is associated with Pegasus the horse and really encapsulating that sense of speed and movement and energy and motion. So we may have a sense of things really moving quickly around the time of this full moon, things coming together and needing to activate into harmony with the speed of development. That's something that's been coming up a lot lately, is that many of us who have done a lot of spiritual work, who are stepping into our power, stepping into our leadership, that next level of our sovereignty, our leadership, our roles, that things are really being asked of us, maybe more so, and it's reflecting an increased and continuously increasing capacity to step up and be of service, to be in our leadership, our authenticity, our truth, sharing our light, shining our light in the world. But this can also feel somewhat overwhelming and stressful for our bodies and even our minds to wrap around the increasing sense of responsibility and the increasing sense of being called to action and being called to serve. It's like we've been waiting for this time to come and now it's here and things are really clicking in and we're being called to step up, being called to serve, being called to be seen, being called to shine and share our gifts in the ways that we're each uniquely called to share our gifts, because we have unique gifts and skill sets, each of us. And so really trusting that your capacity to show up and serve is there. That being said, definitely tending to your body, taking very good care of yourself, and noticing when you do need to slow down and ground and kind of pause, rest, take some time for reflection and integration, because there have just been quantum leaps and bounds in our light bodies, our spiritual growth, and how we're being really called and activated to serve and upgraded in the ways that each of us are serving at this time. Algorab is an interesting star. This is where the sun is in alignment to Corvus constellation, is known as the crow or the raven, along the back of the Hydra, the serpent in the sky. And this Corvus Algorab energy can be a bit of an irritant. It can, in its more shadow expression, be kind of an irritant, pecking, thinking of the pecking bird, the pecking crow, like toot, 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 can kind of like prick us a little bit and irritate us a little bit. And Aries energy too can be a little bit prickly. There's a lot of fire. We have Mars in rulership. It's ancient rulership in Scorpio at this time. So there can be a sense of being pricked a little bit or prickled, or maybe you notice yourself being a little bit prickly with others. So just to be mindful of that. Corvus and the crow is also associated with the god Apollo in his more oracular and prophetic capacity. So this could also be a window into the future, a window into what's next, a window or a portal into all those new beginnings that are on the horizon for us in February, March, April, May of this next year, 2026. So it could be a window of some of those possibilities, opportunities coalescing, and some of those action steps too coming into light and awareness. Okay, I see this future timeline. I see this future possibility. What can I do now? I know I need to be patient and wait, and I understand that the divine timing has to come together. But what action steps can I take right now to be in alignment with the highest timeline of those new beginnings that are coming through in February, March, April, May of next year, even coming into the summertime in the northern hemisphere, the winter time in the southern hemisphere, next June, July, and so on. So we could get a portal, a prophetic portal into what that next highest timeline is and what can we do now in the moment, in the immediate future, that really supports us moving and aligning with that higher timeline that is coming, that's meeting us, that's calling us, that's exciting us. This could even be like contact with the future self and higher self, receiving that guidance, that activation, those insights as to what we can do now, how we're being called to take bold and courageous action, even like what awarenesses need to click in so that we can be in that alignment, and maybe even what are we letting go of into the fire. That action step could be something that's letting go, that's releasing, we're offering to the sacred fire so that we are freed up and liberated and have that space to bring in the new and be active, empowered agents of those new beginnings that are coming through in 2026. Mercury also conjunct Shapley attractor, receiving it in its opposition with Mirach star. It's also receiving a yod. It's the apex of a yod from Saturn, Neptune, Skiat, and Uranus, Sedna, Pleiades. So it's receiving this yod in its alignment with Shapley. And I don't even have her drawn in, but I know Haumea, dwarf planet, Hawaiian goddess, Haumea, goddess of fertility, goddess of the new earth, is in alignment with Shapley. And so Mercury could be our minds, our crown chakras, receiving this sense of gentle transformation, regeneration, downloads, insights, awarenesses, pursuant to that new earth vision of humanity and what's really coming in next year. This could also be us receiving contact, insights, awarenesses from the stars of Pegasus, from the galactic unicorns, from the sacred and beloved ones of Pegasus star system and its planets, and also contact, communication, insights, and awarenesses from the Pleiades, where Uranus and Sedna are really activating and enabling us to be in greater contact with our Pleiadian star family. So to be open to that as well. Mars, in its ancient rulership of Scorpio, is also the ruler of Aries zodiac sign. So this is a strong Mars and rulership that is ruling and guiding this full moon. And we can see here that Mars is in alignment with the stars of the Southern Cross, Acrux star, the Southern Cross located just beneath the Centaur in the sky, Centaurus constellation, very linked in with the mythology of Chiron, the wise healer, teacher, mentor, guide. And Acrux star is really connected to the mysteries and mystery schools of the Milky Way galaxy. Ancient Lyra and Vega is one of those hearts of the mystery schools. Sirius is also another heart of the mystery schools. But Acrux, in my galactic journeys for many different beings, I've seen it again and again, and this is an alignment I have myself too with Acrux, is very linked in with the mystery schools, those ancient mystery schools and spiritual teachings of the Milky Way galaxy that then rippled out and became the spiritual paths and many other planets and star systems. And so our Mars, our bodies, receiving the ancient wisdom codes of the mysteries and mystery schools wherever we may have engaged with those mystery schools and teachings, Mars really activating those within our body, within our physicality, so that we can come into greater awareness, alignment, action, peace, and harmony with those activations of the mysteries within us, and living the mystery, living the example of our authentic spiritual path, and listening and taking action as guided by our soul and spirit selves. So this is really, really wonderful and really, really beautiful to see that. Next, I would like to share with you the Sabian symbol for this lunation. There's a lot more in this chart I could talk about, but I want to skip on to the Sabian symbol at this time. This is from an astrological mandala by Dane Rudger, and there's a symbol for every single degree, 360 degrees of the zodiac, and they're meant to be contemplative, reflective, intuitive, almost like an oracle into each of these degrees, because they were channeled by psychic Elsie Wheeler a long, long time ago for each of the degrees of our zodiac, and they've been interpreted by many astrologers. And so the symbol for 15 Aries is an Indian weaving a ceremonial blanket, projecting into everyday living the realization of wholeness and fulfillment. In Christian tradition, one hears of Jesus' seamless robe. In Asia, one is told of the spiritual vesture of the perfect ones. The man who has attained the spiritual state is figuratively robed in the universe, and more precisely in the Milky Way, the great white robe of interwoven stars. This is the ultimate kind of weaving. There was also Penelope's weaving and unweaving, waiting for the return of her polarizing mate. The mind of the American woman in which these symbols took concrete form could think of only Indian weavers. For the white man who is hungering for symbols of a state of living in total harmony with the universe, the traditional Indian can be glamorized as the answer to the inner emptiness of the city dweller, surfeited with artificial values. At any rate, we may thus prefigure a future state of fulfillment and conscious harmony and unpossessive love. If this symbol comes to the consciousness of the inquirer after meaning, deliberately or through an aleatory act of revelation, like the act of throwing sticks to obtain an I Ching symbol, implied is the profound fact that every individual has as his ultimate conscious task the weaving of his immortal body, his Gnostic robe of glory. It may sound very mystical and far out, but there is a moment in every cycle when, in however small a degree, every individual may be confronted with the potentiality of a fulfilling act of self-realization, and may, ever so relatively, find himself clothed in light for an instant. We are told by this symbol that the fulfillment of desire is a possibility at whatever level and in however incomplete a manner it may be experienced. I also wanted to mention that the star Algorab in Corvus constellation, the Crow, is linked to the Ark of the Covenant. So the Raven, Corvus, and the Cup, the crater constellation on the back of the Hydra, is linked to the Ark of the Covenant. And this symbol is really talking about the cloth of light, the clothing of light, this mystical garment that is very reminiscent of the Ark of the Covenant as well. So we do get a sense of sacred energy transmission taking place at the time of this full moon. And I'll share my screen again because I want to spell out a little bit about what this magical garment may look like based on the transits the position of all the transiting planets and their star alignments at the time of this full moon. The ancient Jyotish science of light, which is an Eastern, a very ancient or Vedic form of astrology and medical astrology, maps the planets onto each of the chakras. And so there's a traditional way of assigning chakras to planets, and it was using the visible planets. So Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, the luminaries, of course, Sun and Moon. And what I've done in my work and research with this Jyotish Chakra System is I've added in the North Node and the South Node, and also the outer planets as they are higher octaves of the inner planets. So at the time of this full moon, again, there are other ways of assigning planets to chakras, but this is the Jyotish way with the Taylor Norris additions of the nodes and some additional chakras. So at the time of this full moon, starting beneath our feet, we are receiving the north node of the moon in Pisces. We're receiving the light and the power of Eridanus constellation and Atranar star in our Earth star chakra. In our root chakras, we are receiving the light of the moon. We are receiving the light of Andromeda constellation and Alpha star, as well as Corvus Algorab as well. In our sacral chakras, we are receiving the energy of Mars, Crux constellation, Acrux star, Cassiopeia constellation, the Queen, Shadir star, divine, feminine, queen, leadership in its purest form. In our sacral chakra, we are also receiving the light of Pluto and the stars of Lyra, Aladfar, the stars of Aquila, the eagle, Altair. In our solar plexus chakra, we are receiving the light and the power of the sun, our star in our solar system. And we're also in our solar plexus chakra receiving the light of Corvus, Algorab star, Alpha and Andromeda. In our heart chakra, we are receiving the light and the power of Saturn in Pisces. And you can see Saturn does not have any within orb galactic alignments at this time. So we're really just holding the beauty of that Saturn in Pisces energy in our heart chakra. In our throat chakra, we're receiving the light and the power of Venus in Virgo, and she's not making any galactic alignments that are showing up in this chart, but she is making other alignments that maybe are beyond the scope of this chart. In our throat chakra, we're also receiving the light and the power of Neptune in Aries, and we're receiving the light and the power of Pegasus, Skiat star, and the supergalactic center in our throat chakras, activating now. In our third eye chakra, we're receiving the light and the power of Jupiter and the stars of Lyra, Sulafat star. And we are also receiving in our crown chakra the light and the power of Mercury, Shapley Attractor, and Mirach star in Andromeda constellation. In our crown chakra, we're also receiving the light and the power of Uranus and Gemini, the stars of the Pleiades, and Alpha Centauri star in Centaurus constellation. That is our crown chakra. And in our soul star chakra above our head, we're receiving the light and the power of the south node of the moon in Virgo, and its alignment to the stars of Eridanus, the starry river of life, and Atranar star at the mouth of the river. So that gives you an idea of how we might map these stars onto our own energy bodies and how we are really embodying the cloak of the universe, the cloak of the Milky Way galaxy and beyond, because we have Shapley Attractor in here, we have the super galactic center in here. And so we're really, really expanding and activating our energy bodies. And I just wanted to put that together and share that because interestingly, I was thinking about this a lot yesterday on my walk and how I wanted to do more of this, mapping the stars in our energy bodies, because we really are embodied stardust, we're embodied galactic and cosmic intelligence, and to just allow that awareness to activate within you and compel you to take the courageous actions that you're being divinely guided to take. And maybe that action is to wait and to rest and to, take good care of yourself. Maybe it's a different kind of action that's coming through. The action can be to wait, but it also can be to take a more outwardly manifested action as well. So just to be really listening to that and to receive the beautiful harmonic activations and energy infusions of our beautiful planetary guides and all the amazing galactic alignments we are receiving at this time. If you would like to connect more with me, then please visit my website, taylornorrisreiki.com. I offer one-on-one galactic astrology soul readings and Reiki Journeys sessions, as well as a free new moon astrology and Reiki share every month. And the next one is for the Libra new moon on October 20th. And you can RSVP for free for that on my website, taylornorrisreiki.com. So I wish you a most abundantly blessed Aries full moon and your entire Virgo moon cycle. May it be super, super blessed and you receive all that you are meant to receive for your highest good now and moving forward. Aho, amen, namaste, and so it is. Mahalo.